Let me just start by saying that I'm hoping for this movie to be good. I really am. I saw Batman Begins twice in cinemas. I saw The Dark Knight 4 times. I saw The Dark Knight Rises 3 times. I even saw Man of Steel 5 times. Yes, I embrace that movie with flaws and all, just like I did Dark Knight Rises, because I love these characters. I love DC. So I really want this movie to be good. But every time a new piece of information about this movie comes out, all I see is red flags everywhere. And someone like me is exactly the core kind of market that an upcoming movie like Superman Batman is depending on. And I don't think I'm alone in these concerns. So let's do what us nerds do best and rant. Starting at the bottom and working our way up to the top. Number 5, the most obvious, Ben Affleck. A lot of you might have been expecting this to be my number 1 reason I'm worried, but it's actually not. When I first heard the news, it certainly would have been my top reason, but I am slowly getting used to the idea. A big reason to help me with this was the recent Runner trailer. Ben Affleck in that is supposedly a bad guy, and he seems to do an alright job at that. He actually does show a little bit of edge, a little bit of guts, a little bit of toughness. I mean, as of me recording this, the movie hasn't actually come out yet, so we can't know for sure, but this did give me hope that maybe he could pull off a good Batman. But Ben Affleck still makes this list because I just can't forget about Daredevil. And I'm sorry to repeat that point because I know everyone keeps saying that over and over again. And I know, yes, it's true. That movie was a long time ago. Yes, it's true that was a totally different character and a totally different stage in superhero movies. Yes, it's true that was a totally different stage in Ben Affleck's career. That's all true. But what is also true is the fact that the closest Ben Affleck has ever come to playing a character like Batman before is Daredevil. You know, there are some actors that just aren't suited to play superheroes. And I'm afraid that Ben Affleck might be one of them. And Daredevil is a B-list character. He's a secondary character. He's not even in the same league as someone like Batman. So to quote The Amazing Atheist, if Ben Affleck can't even fill the shoes of Daredevil, how can we expect him to fill the shoes of the Caped Crusader? And you know what? No matter what you might be telling yourself, you know that doubt is scratching in the back of your mind as well. Number 4, no Christopher Nolan. Previously, we could say, in Nolan we trust. Can't say that no more, because he's gone. Both he and Christian Bale left Warner Brothers together because the guy who hired them and supported them through their careers was fired, and they left sort of out of protest to that and all this corporate politics stuff. So I suspect that because Warner Brothers lost both an actor and a director over that dispute, they wanted to pick someone who was both an actor and a director that could maybe fill the void that was left by them leaving. Plus they wanted someone that was also firmly entrenched in the Warner Brothers camp so they wouldn't leave like they did, like someone who maybe depends on Warner Brothers because his career was turned around due to movies that were made when he was with them. Is there anyone like that? Oh yeah, Ben Affleck! That's why he got the job. That's why he's going to be Batman. Because he's a good political decision from a corporate business point of view, and the issue as to whether or not he will be good for the part was the least concern. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is, if those Hollywood executives think they can just put any creative team behind the camera and it will still be awesome because it has Batman in it, then they've forgotten the lesson they learned from the franchise killer. Or maybe they never even learned that lesson in the first place. Do we really need to go back there? But look, a change in actors and a creative teams making a movie doesn't automatically spell doom for a project either. Sometimes it can actually be an improvement. But that's provided that they take the time to do it right. And the fact that they are rushing this movie like maniacs to get it out by 2015 makes the fact that Christopher Nolan is not going to be around to be the voice of reason anymore to be very troubling indeed. Number 3, old, tired, and boring. If you're like me and you like Batman to be in tip-top condition, taking on 20 to 30 guys at a time like the legendary crime fighter that he is, then whoa, you are certainly a dying breed, it would seem. For whatever insane reason, Hollywood seems to be under the impression that everyone wants their superheroes old, tired, and boring. Batman in Dark Knight Rises, Wolverine is always crying and depressed all the time. Even a character like Tony Stark. Tony Stark! He was the one guy that was like, yeah, you know what? I'm a superhero and it's awesome. But in Iron Man 3, he was all like, oh, I hate my life. My life sucks. I'm going to go have a panic attack. No! We don't want that, okay? Look, back when they announced Ben Affleck as Batman, I was at least hoping that this would mean they were going to move away from the idea of an older, boring Batman. But no, a recent announcement from some dude at Warner Brothers confirms that Batman will be, and I quote, old, tired, and seasoned. Okay, seasoned, yes, because we don't need to go through the whole origin thing again, so having him be experienced, yes. But old and tired? Firstly, Ben Affleck doesn't look old, okay? And secondly, why would Batman be tired in the first movie we're seeing him in? In Dark Knight Rises, he had been around, we'd seen him, and that was the end of a trilogy. So it at least made sense then. But to all intents and purposes, this is the first adventure for this Batman that we have seen. Even if they're writing him as a character that's already been around in this universe for a while before this movie started, still, it's his first outing for us. So if he starts out old, tired, and boring, then what's he going to be like when he finally gets to a Justice League movie? Please don't tell me that he's going to be thinking about retirement again, okay? No one wants to see an old Batman, alright? Stop it! Stop doing it! Take your midlife crisis and go cry in the corner somewhere and leave superheroes alone. Leave Batman alone! A character like Batman should be ageless, okay? No midlife crisis for Batman! And besides that, Batman is going to have to be at his mental and physical peak if he wants to go toe-to-toe with Superman. Which brings me to my next point. Number 2, Batman is going to beat up Superman. Putting aside the fact that these two guys should never be fighting because they're good guys, they're on the same side and they're supposed to be friends, what's worse, we all know they're going to have Batman win the fight between the two of them because Batman's more popular and they want to pander to the Batman fans. And when it happens, which we all know it will, all of the Batman fans are going to go, yay! And everybody else in the whole world will go, what? Because everybody knows that the very thought, the very idea that Batman could beat up Superman in a straight-up fight is ridiculous. Now, I'm not going to go through all the reasons why I think that. Instead, I would just refer you over to Angry Joe's top 10 reasons why Superman beats Batman. If there was ever anything to be said on this subject, he says it in that video. I don't think any reasonable person could watch that and come away saying they think Batman will win. But let me tell you why they're going to do this in this movie. The reason that there's so much hostility towards Superman from the hardcore Batman fans. If you're a casual Batman fan, probably not as much, but the hardcore fanatic Batman fans hate Superman, and it's because Batman and Superman are the two top characters in DC, and while Batman may be slightly more popular right now, Batman will never replace Superman as the top dog from a story perspective. Because Superman has powers and Batman doesn't. Batman can't fight off a Darkseid invasion by himself. Batman can't stop Doomsday from destroying a city. Batman can't take on higher level villains by himself. So Batman can never replace Superman as the top dog, and the Batman fans hate that because they want Batman to be the champion, which is almost always why Batman fans say that Superman is overpowered. But the truth is, any superhero team needs to have a character that is powered up to the max to do the heavy lifting that the others can't. In the same way that you always need to have a scientist character to handle all the techno kind of stuff, you always need to have a powered up muscle character to handle the brawls with the higher level villains. In the Avengers, you have the Hulk that fulfills that role. In the Justice League, you have Superman. You need a character like that. But tell me, why is it that no one ever says that the Hulk is overpowered? The Hulk literally has no limits on his strength. Superman does. How come no one ever says Wonder Woman is overpowered? She has no weaknesses at all. At least Superman has kryptonite, but she doesn't have any. How come no one ever says she is overpowered? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because those characters don't have a rival group of fans from a competing character that don't like sharing the spotlight. That's why they're going to have Batman win, and that's why they're going to have Superman lose to a vastly inferior opponent that he shouldn't even be fighting in the first place. Because they want to pander to the hardcore Batman fans rather than letting logic and good storytelling dictate the plot. That is a bad decision. Having Batman win is a mistake. In fact, having them fight at all is a mistake, which is my number one reason why I'm worried about this upcoming movie. Number one, it's gonna be a versus movie based off Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. This is a mistake for so many reasons. First of all, that graphic novel has already been used twice in film. In the animated movie of the same name, which is really awesome by the way. Plus, that graphic novel was already drawn from quite heavily for The Dark Knight Rises. And yes, Zack Snyder did say that they're going to use other themes in the graphic novel, but it's debatable whether or not there actually is enough left over that hasn't already been covered. And even if there is, it's not going to fit in with the characters that you will have or you already have established in Man of Steel. Let's just take a look, first of all, at Superman. In the graphic novel The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller writes Superman as a brainless stooge working for a corrupt government that's trying to start World War III. He doesn't think for himself, he doesn't analyze situations according to his conscience, he just does what he's told. Which is why he and Batman came to blows in the end. This Superman from the graphic novels is not going to fit at all with the Superman from the Man of Steel. That Superman flatly refused to be manipulated by the military on more than one occasion in that movie. He said to the general when he's talking through the glass, he said, "You're afraid of me because you don't control me, and you never will." At the end of the movie, he said, "Look, I'm here to help, but it has to be on my terms." This is the complete opposite of the Superman in the graphic novel The Dark Knight Returns. These two guys are completely different characters. So how can you use the graphic novel as a template for the Man of Steel sequel? And it's not just with Superman, it's with Batman as well. Batman in the graphic novel is completely different than the Batman that we are going to need in this movie. In the graphic novel, he's in his late 50s, early 60s, and he's looking for a good way to die. It is basically his last story as Batman. He's tired, he's more cynical than usual, and he's seeking an honorable death. But a Batman in the upcoming movie, as I mentioned in the previous point, even if we make him slightly older and experienced, this is still, for us, the first of the new Batman, not the last of the old. Using the graphic novel as a template for this movie, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense! Especially when you consider that Batman and Superman have a long history in the comics of teaming up and working together. The occasions when they actually do fight each other really are the exception rather than the rule. So why are they focusing on the smallest, most isolated, and most out-of-character moments in their history together and completely ignoring everything else? Pick a different story as your inspiration. There's some great stories out there that you can borrow from that will work just as well, if not better, because you don't have to manufacture a dispute between these two guys. A versus movie really is a lose-lose situation, because it can only end up one of three ways. Either Batman wins, which alienates all the Superman fans, either Superman wins, which alienates all the Batman fans, or they chicken out and they don't give us a clear winner, in which case everyone is alienated because they've been scammed out of what they thought they were getting, especially if they're going to end up calling the movie Superman versus Batman. So no matter which way they go, they're still going to end up alienating a whole bunch of people that they depend on. And that's why I'm worried that this movie might suck. But I hope I will be proven wrong. So as always, if you liked or if you hated this video, let me know in the comments. No trolling insult will be removed if it's funny. And be sure to like my Facebook page and do a little bit of clicking on that subscribe button here on YouTube for me. So until next time, I'll see you later.